Coming up on Global Business, California Governor Gavin Newsom heads to China to sign agreements on climate change. China is harnessing digital innovation to enhance the quality of life for seniors. And Japan's Prime Minister unveils a bold 3-year plan to revitalize the sluggish economy. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Michelle Vandenberg. Governor of the U.S. state of California, Gavin Newsom, is in China for a week-long visit starting Monday. He's scheduled to visit several cities and sign a number of agreements on issues ranging from tourism and the economy to climate change. The governor has repeatedly called China a strategic partner of California in the fight against climate change and says the world's fate depends on cooperation between the two sides. Newsom's first stop is Hong Kong, and now let's go live to Ann Chung there for more details. Hi there, Ann. So tell us more about his visit in Hong Kong.
Yes, California's Governor Gavin Newsom is leading a delegation focused on climate action and partnership. His first stop is here in Hong Kong. I'm at the Hong Kong University, where Newsom earlier participated in a fireside chat with Professor Peng Gong, who's the university's vice president and pro-vice chancellor of academic development. Newsom mainly shared about some climate practices in California. For example, a focus is on how to descale and decarbonize one of the largest economies in the world and maintain its competitive edge. He said the emphasis is on the how, like with vehicle emissions, how to reach large-scale industrial sectors, convert vehicle fleets, address struggles with legacy companies, and to address the issue of methane, which is a greenhouse gas. California is about to launch 8 satellites to detect methane leaks around the world. The first 2 satellites will be launching next week, and it's open source for the globe to address the issues of methane. In the chat, Peng Gong also asked Newsom how tech and innovation plays a role in clean energy and what Newsom's message was to Hong Kong. And to answer that, Newsom said it was about partnership, as with Silicon Valley, which can't be replicated with bricks and mortar. Instead, it's based on people and talent, especially since 27% of California is minority born, so the diversity is certainly a factor. He also credits partnerships with universities and labs and shared that more can still be done on this front. Meanwhile, Peng Gong announced that starting next year, Hong Kong University will be hosting the annual China-California Bay-to-Bay Climate Forum in Hong Kong. The forum will facilitate policy and research exchange between California's San Francisco Bay Area and China's Greater Bay Area. The forum aims to learn more about California's leading efforts in climate change, how California drives clean energy, and how it empowers universities in driving the research and application of climate change solutions. Looking ahead, after this visit to Hong Kong, Newsom will head to Guangzhou, Beijing, Shanghai, and Jiangsu province. He is expected to visit a wind facility, meet with leaders, sign MOUs to advance climate collaboration, and discuss topics spanning methane and the clean energy transition. Meanwhile, Hong Kong has pledged to reduce its carbon emissions by 50% before 2035 compared to 2005 levels, as well as achieve carbon neutrality before 2050. In April, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange published a consultation paper proposing that starting next year, all issuers must make climate-related disclosures in their environment, social and governance framework. And with the upcoming policy address on Wednesday, Chief Executive John Lee could potentially be sharing more about efforts towards this goal. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much for the report, Ann Chung, for us in Hong Kong. China and California enjoy a long history of cooperation. Chinese direct investment in the U.S. reached a record $45 billion in 2016, and California is the U.S. state with the highest level of direct investment from China, over a third of the total. Meanwhile, California has nearly 600 Chinese companies, also more than any other state in the U.S. Earlier this year, the 5th China-California Business Forum was held in Los Angeles, California. It attracted over 400 political, business, and academic representatives who attended the meeting to promote trade and investment cooperation between the two sides. Now, for more on the governor of California's visit to China, let's talk to Wang Yao Jing, assistant professor in economics of Peking University. Professor Wang, so why does California Governor Gavin Newsom place such an importance on climate cooperation with China?
Well, first of all, California has a long history of progressive policies and a commitment to environmental protection. It has set ambitious targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and transitioning to new renewable energy resources. And we are talking about a state that is highly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. It experiences severe droughts, wildfires, and rising sea levels. And these environmental challenges have a direct impact on California's economy, agriculture, and overall quality of life for its residents. And China has made significant strides in the green energy sector and is considered one of the global leaders in renewable energy adoption and production. I believe areas like solar power and other renewable energy capacity, electric vehicles, hydropower are potential areas for California and China to establish more business cooperations in. And California also has leading resources in research and development in technology and innovation, and the prospects for collaboration with the top talents are certainly exciting. In fact, former Governor Jerry Brown launched a California-China Climate Institute at the University of California, Berkeley. So in general, it is beneficial for China and California to continue to join hands in fighting climate change.
Now, apart from climate cooperation, what progress can be expected in terms of promoting cultural and tourism collaboration during the governor's visit?
Well, California and China have numerous opportunities for collaborations in the culture and tourism sector. For example, in education, California is home to many world-leading universities and many centers and institutes for China studies. As the top U.S. destination for foreign studies, 42% of the California international students are from China. And in terms of arts and entertainment, this is also a tremendous area. And China is now the biggest film market with cinema ticket sales of over 30 billion yuan per annum, which is about $4.6 billion. And some people interpret it as competition against the Hollywood. I see it as a huge potential for Hollywood and an entertainment sector talent in the world to bring their talent to this fastest growing market. As for tourism, California has been one of the favorite destinations for Chinese tourists to visit in North America. And in 2019, about 500,000 visitors from China came to San Francisco and were responsible for more than $1 billion in spending. And this is a good time to remove the hurdles that were caused by COVID and resume the close ties between California and China. And in fact, the LA Tourism Board has advocated for the U.S. state government to extend its waiver on certain in-person interview requirements, and is hopeful that an increase in group travel would help expedite the visa process for tourists from China.
Yeah, and with California being home to many Chinese residents, it naturally has these advantages for economic and trade cooperation with China. So how can we further leverage these advantages?
Well, California is home to more than 2 million Chinese Americans, which is more than any other state in the United States. And California's history, traditions are a lot of time shaped by the rich cultural heritage that Chinese immigrants have brought. And these Chinese Americans form ties between California and China, and many of the cultural exchanges and tourism collaborations could have significantly lowered the transaction cost and information asymmetry between California and China. And other advantages might include, say, network, as the Chinese community in California has established extensive networks and connections in various industries, and these connections can open doors for trade, investments, and collaborations between California and China.
All right, thank you so much for your insights. Really appreciate your time. Wang Yao Jing, Assistant Professor in Economics at Peking University. You're watching Global Business, still to come. China gears up for the 6th China International Import Expo, promising global business opportunities.
Join us in San Francisco on November 14th through 16th for the most influential meeting of the world's leaders and business executives in the Asia Pacific. The Apex CEO Summit 2023 will focus on creating economic opportunity. The summit will promote sustainability, inclusion, resilience, and innovation across the Asia Pacific. Don't miss your chance to be part of the conversation. Request your invitation at apexceosummit2023.com.
Companies from more than 150 countries are to participate in the China International Import Expo in Shanghai in early November. Cao Bing reports from a press conference by the Ministry of Commerce.
The 6th China International Import Expo will be held in Shanghai from November 1st to 5th. According to China's Ministry of Commerce, the CIIE as an international platform for procurement and investment and people-to-people exchanges is attracting enterprises and business leaders from many industries.
本届进博会预计将迎来
Guests from 154 countries, regions, and international organizations are expected to join in the expo. More than 3,400 exhibitors and 394,000 professional visitors have registered, and the numbers fully returned to pre-epidemic level. Meanwhile, more than 100 executives from world's top 500 companies in leading industry enterprises have confirmed to attend the CIIE.
At the same time, the exhibition will be held on a larger scale with higher quality of exhibitors than previously. The venue covers about 370,000 square meters, with exhibitors including well over half of the world's top 500 companies. Another official pointed out that the CIIE will be held under the concept of a green expo, with the whole process renewable and recyclable.
一是引进绿色的展品。
First, we introduce green exhibits. For the first time, with 63% sustainable materials, new energy-saving pump motor will be exhibited at the event. Hongqiao International Economic Forum will hold a sub-forum on developing green investment and trade for global ecological civilization. The second is to build a green booth. The construction for the booth will be 100% green.
At the same time, 64 Belt and Road countries will participate in the event. One official says the event will further enhance the effectiveness of participating countries, promoting cooperation in a deeper and concrete manner, and thus support mutual development. Cao Bing, CGTN, Beijing.
5 big Wall Street brokerages have revised up their GDP growth forecast for China after better than expected quarterly data came out last Wednesday. China posted 4.9% GDP growth in the third quarter, supported by robust industrial and consumption activities. Goldman Sachs, however, cut its forecast slightly and now expects China to grow 5.3% in 2023. That still makes the bank the most optimistic among its peers in predicting even faster GDP growth in Q4. All 6 big brokerages have pegged their estimates above the 5% growth target Beijing set for the year. Trade and economic government officials from China and the Gulf Cooperation Council have committed to boosting trade ties. This year's Economic and Trade Cooperation Forum provides a renewed impetus to China-GCC connectivity. Omar Khan has the details.
A new chapter has been forged in China-Gulf nation cooperation, with trade and investment ties at the core. Commerce ministers and various political delegations from China and the 6 Arab state members of the GCC gathered in Guangzhou, looking to further expand on already strong economic links.
In 2022, our trade exceeded $300 billion, an increase of 35.6% year-on-year. For the first 8 months this year, our bilateral trade was $188.8 billion, growing steadily.
Much of what has been agreed to and discussed at this year's forum goes back more than 10 years, when China and the GCC recognized the importance of coming together.
China-GCC cooperation covers a wide range of sectors and industries. In December 2012, President Xi Jinping attended the China-GCC summit. This summit aroused a very vigorous response and feedback from various countries. The summit helped reach a number of agreements and consensus.
And with this year seeing the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, GCC member nations like the UAE are recognizing the investment opportunities both within their borders and beyond.
The Belt and Road Initiative was proposed 10 years ago, and the UAE has always been a supporter to China's efforts in promoting the development of BRI. Under the BRI framework, a lot of progress has been made between China and other countries and international organizations. The UAE invested $10 billion into China's Joint Investment Fund to support BRI projects in East Africa.
With more than 400 government and business representatives in attendance, there are hopes that relations between those here will go beyond natural resources and tap into new sectors such as clean energy, the digital economy, and more. Omar Khan, CGTN, Guangzhou.
Today is Chongyang, or Double Ninth Festival, which falls on the 9th day of the 9th month in the Chinese lunar calendar, and it's a day to show respect to the elderly. According to Ctrip.com, Chinese people in their 60s and 70s are showing strong consumption momentum. Overseas travel booked by seniors increased by 7 times from January to August compared to the same period last year, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Seniors' consumption of outdoor gadgets has also risen by 50%. Now, people aged over 60 account for 18.7% of the Chinese population, and the share will rise to 20% by 2030. Consumption by seniors will account for 10% of GDP by then. Around 10 industrial parks centered on the silver-haired economy will be built ahead of 2025. Our reporter Ying Junyi visited some senior communities in Shanghai and found out they're using new technological developments to improve the lives of elderly people.
An aging population and rapid technological development are defining features of China's recent history. And new digital approaches have created opportunities to serve older people, improving happiness, sense of worth, and security. Like in the senior living community in Shanghai, all the residents here wear a smart wristband.
We all have this device. That is to ensure we can call the medical staff here whenever we are facing problems.
I'm 91 now. One day, I fell to the ground and was unable to get up. So I pressed the wristband, and they came immediately to pick me up.
The operator here says they have invested nearly 1 million yuan in this smart system so that it can cover all 120 residents. Besides the wristbands, there are also call buttons in each room. And to benefit residents with cognitive impairment, they have improved the system further.
We have upgraded the system with new features including the fence alarm function. Once a resident who has cognitive impairment problems or is not recommended to go out due to health condition is close to a higher risk area, we will be alerted so that we can come to offer help.
Healthcare is often on the top priority for seniors. The Beijingjing community in Shanghai's Changning district has invested in technology to help residents better track their health. It's using this sensor pad in its senior care service center, which can track heart rate, breathing, and movement, and monitor sleep when placed under a mattress.
We have been using this equipment since 2018, and we have spent over 200,000 yuan on it. It really helps with elderly care at night. We can check all the health measures of elderly residents living in our center. Their families can also check it through smartphones. Also, it's easier for doctors to conduct medical checkups as we can offer all this health data.
Official data show that, as of the end of last year, China had more than 280 million citizens aged 60 or above. That's almost 20% of the country's population, close to double what it was 20 years ago, and they're starting to need more special care. According to research CHYXX, the scale of smart elderly care market in China reached 4.2 trillion yuan last year and is expected to exceed 6 trillion by 2025. Ying Junyi, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
You're watching Global Business, still to come. Japan's Prime Minister unveils a bold 3-year plan to revitalize the sluggish economy.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
Japan's Prime Minister has announced a 3-year goal to revive the country's sluggish economy. Fumio Kishida outlined plans on Monday to increase wages, cut taxes, and reduce the cost of living. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
The Prime Minister is sending a message to the Japanese people that he too is prioritizing the cost of living. The weak yen, high inflation, stagnant wage growth have all been dogging the economy for the last year, and the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is now responding with more promises, specifically to spur growth in the economy with higher wages and stronger investment. Addressing the lower house of parliament, he outlined his priority as economy, 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 saying that he has the answers to fix the nation's problems with definite solutions without delay. Now, while his speech did not outline details, he did hint at energy subsidies as utility costs continue to soar, at standing with low-income earners who are being hit the hardest in the current state of the economy, with financial assistance through local body institutions, and incentivizing companies to raise wages and salaries through tax incentives. Now, this does come as Japan just logs a 2.8% core consumer price increase for September year on year. The government is expected to outline a more detailed stimulus package by the end of this month. Experts are questioning why this has not come sooner, especially as consumers for a year now have been hurt by a weak yen and the consequential higher import commodity costs that's hitting them in the pocket and at the cash register. One answer may be that a year later, Cabinet's approval rating is still in the gutter. It's at a 2-year low, and the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is thought to want to call a snap election sometime in the coming months to refresh his mandate, but consumers and voters are still frustrated with the state of the economy, and experts say if an election were held now, the ruling LDP party, Kishida's party, may only lose seats. Chris Gilbert for CGTN in Tokyo.
Now let's take a look at other major business headlines from around the world. Japan announced Monday that it will launch an anti-monopoly probe into Google's search dominance. The country's Fair Trade Commission said it will investigate whether Google violated the Anti-Monopoly Act, including by returning part of its revenues to Android smartphone makers on the condition that they not install rival search engines. SpaceX has signed a deal to launch up to 4 of the European Space Agency's Galileo satellites into orbit. These satellites will be launched on the firm's Falcon 9 rocket from the U.S. The deal now awaits approval from the European Commission. Airbus said on Monday it has signed 2 contracts with France military to provide capability enhancement and in-service support for its fleet of A330 multi-role tanker transports. The 2 contracts are worth 1.2 billion euros. In recent years, African music has captured the world's attention, with artists filling stadiums and appearing on music charts worldwide. The inaugural Trace Music Awards and Festival, held in Kigali, Rwanda on Saturday night, celebrated African music's success. Our correspondent Athen Tash-Oba attended the gala and filed this report.
The power, the spirit and the rich fusion of African music found their purest expression through the 3-time Grammy-winning Soweto Gospel Choir. The inaugural Trace Music Awards and Festival in Rwanda celebrated the vibrant world of African music. It featured electrifying performances by some of the biggest artists of African and Afro descent, a true testament to the growth and global dominance of African music.
When we launched Trace 20 years ago, we had a vision that one day black music will rule the world. And not just the American black music, but the black music from Africa and the African diasporas. And we wanted to be part of this movement. And so this is exactly the DNA of Trace. It's our mission, it's our vision, it's our passion. So the good news, we were right.
Well, I feel like a proud father right now, you know what I'm saying? I feel one, like a proud father. Second, I feel like a prophet. Because, you know, they always say I'm a pace setter, being the first African artist to have a global hit with Oliver Twist in the UK. And then I remember how hard it was. You know, people even thought I was not African. They thought I was Caribbean. They thought I was from that side. No, I'm the bunch, I'm African. And I had to be calling our names. And so for us to see today, where there is now stadiums being filled, #1 records from my siblings and co. I just feel so proud. Like
the big arena in Kigali became the epicenter of the global music and culture scene as the Trace Awards showcased the finest talents Africa has to offer. At this event, artists reaffirmed Africa's standing as a global music powerhouse.
Being African is a unique thing already, and so when it comes to our music, it's our melodies, our stories, and our rhythm.
African music right now is one of the biggest exports, like, you know, right now in the world. Probably one of the biggest genres, so, you know what I'm saying, I'm proud of it.
From mesmerizing rhythms to powerful vocals, the audience embarked on a journey through the diverse sounds of Africa and beyond, courtesy of a star-studded lineup of top African artists. A pivotal moment of the evening was the recognition of emerging artists and pioneers who have shaped the African music landscape. Notable award winners included Davido for Best Male Act, Senegalese sensation Vivian Chididi as the Best Female Act, Ivorian maestro Tam Seal winning the title of Best Producer, Burna Boy taking home the Album of the Year award, Rema for Song of the Year, Diamond Platnumz as the Best East African Act, and Rwanda's very own Bruce Melody crowned as the Best Rwandan Act.
In an era of relative success in African music, the Trace Festival and the awards highlight the continent's rich heritage and global impact. Artists believe that African music and culture have arrived and the world is listening. Ethan Tashubia for CGTN, Kigali, Rwanda.
And that will do it with this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Vandenberg in Beijing. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
This is CGTN,
China Global Television Network.